And welcome to an impromptu breaking news edition of the OHIO podcast. Welcome in, everybody. We're thankful that you decided to hop on and join us. We're moving fast today. We are making this quick. I am Buckeye Boggs, aka the Podfather. That's Knoxville. Nate joining me this afternoon for breaking news. Michigan has a head coach. Nate, Michigan.
I'm not on. Am I
Yeah,
on?
you're on.
Okay, I can't see the video. Yeah, I
Oh,
I didn't know if it was ever going to happen. To be honest with you, that's why I'm a little confused. I didn't think a school of that caliber would have so much trouble hiring a head coach, but it's been done. To be honest with you, I cannot say that I'm not somewhat impressed with what they were able to do, considering all the folks that turned this job down and were not interested. I think, given the circumstances, it's a pretty good hire for them, and honestly, it's probably an upgrade over Sharon Moore, if we're being honest with ourselves.
oh, 100%. I don't know if you had a chance to hear or watch the video I did this morning on Sharon, but there's a report all the way back in February that he basically threw a temper tantrum and was seen crying with the coaches.
I watched that. I watched that.
I thought it was hilarious, but no, this is an upgrade from Sharon Moore, absolutely. But it comes with a caveat to this, obviously, and we're going to get into that. Let me acknowledge the fact that we have a lot of great people in the chat joining us already. Jeffrey, what's up? Tyler, Mark, it's just me, Tim. Good to see all of you. Mean Green is with us as well. GOJ 2038. It's been a while. Good to have you with us, my man. King Bronco. What are you doing here, Bronco? I I should send you an invite, man. I haven't seen you forever, brother. Good to have you, Ed, with us as well right now, and there'll be a host of others who will be joining us. We'll be throwing up your chats and responding to them later on in this impromptu breaking news edition episode of the OHIO podcast. Kyle Wittingham reportedly is the man. According to the Detroit Free Press, as of 30 minutes ago, Michigan football is finalizing a deal to hire Utah legend Kyle. Interesting they used the word legend there. Hire Utah legend Kyle Whittingham as its next coach to replace Sharon Moore. A person with knowledge of the situation told the Free Press on condition of anonymity because it's not official. It's pretty much official. Everybody's posting it now. The official announcement is expected soon and possibly as early as today. Goes on to talk about Wittingham. We're going to talk about him as well, but that is from the Detroit Free Press. Yahoo's Dan Wolken, Yahoo Sports, says in the latter part of Kyle Whittingham's 21-year run at Utah, his name practically disappeared from the coaching rumors that seem to be part and parcel of having success at a non-traditional program. It wasn't that bigger schools were any less interested. If anything, Whittingham's reputation had only grown over time as he shepherded Utah from the Mountain West domination to the Pac-12 championship to a 10-2 redemption this year after an exceedingly rare losing season in 2024. But Yahoo Sports is reporting that he is going to be the next Michigan coach at this time. And it's an interesting article. I might dive more into it, but we have our own thoughts. That is for sure. So you brought up the fact, Nate, that he's an upgrade. I want you to dive into that a little bit. I'm going to get into Whittingham a little bit as far as his background, history, things of that nature. I don't think it's a good hire for them. As an Ohio State fan, I'm not shaking in my boots here. I'm not. But I want you to dive into a little bit about, okay, explain to me why you think this is an upgrade.
Well, I think it was an upgrade because Moore, he wasn't qualified to be a head coach, in my opinion. I don't think that
That being Sharon Moore.
Sharon Moore, Coach Moore.
Yeah.
I just, or excuse me, I guess we should say the former Coach Moore, since he's gone. But I think he was, they just kind of hired him because they were trying to keep continuity and because of the scandals that were going on. I mean, I just don't, they didn't do a real search when this happened. We all kind of thought that he would be there for a short period of time. Honestly, they kind of won in spite of him, I would say. It wasn't because he was coaching tremendously, although he did beat us once. But they were kind of out kicking their coverage, in my opinion, with him as coach, given the fact that he has no experience being a head coach, and that showed at a lot of times. Now, this guy here, Coach Wittingham, he's got a lot of experience. There's no doubt about it. But have I seen stuff out of him to lead me to believe that he's going to take the Big Ten by storm? I'm not sure of that, but he's definitely an upgrade over Sharon Moore. I think the way that he can scheme, the way that he can develop players, the way he can take guys that maybe aren't five-star dudes and turn them into capable, capable players. I mean, there's no denying that this guy can coach football. He's done it. He's done it at a high level for a long time. So in that regard, I certainly think he's an upgrade. But I'm like you. It doesn't scare me. I'm not. Petrified of this guy taking over there. I think, this is going to be kind of a band-aid. I think it's a short-term fix for a big-time problem, and that's just the way I'm looking at it.
It's exactly how I look at it. Lisa says she agrees with King Bronco. She goes, I like Kyle and wanted Scum to get a coach I disliked. I talked to Bart real fast before we went live. He said the same thing. He's like, I do. He goes, I do not like this hire as a Buckeye fan because I actually really liked Whittingham, and that's fine. Maybe it brings some respect back to the rivalry that has been lacking and missing. Some good sportsmanlike respect. I'll say this. I don't think Whittingham is going to fix the bigger problems there. And they needed somebody, in my opinion, to come in there and completely tear the program down to the studs and rebuild it. Maybe even beyond the studs, down to the foundation itself. Whittingham is not going to be able to do that. He's 66 years old. He's in the twilight of his coaching career here. He is what I've been calling a stopgap. He is a bridge from where they are now to where they want to get to in 3 to 4 years down the road. He is not a long-term solution. I think I saw DOJ put that in there as well. He is not a long-term solution. He is a temporary fix, in my opinion, for the University of Michigan. And does he quiet the storm that's been going on in Ann Arbor? Yes, he does. But here's the thing, and this is mission number one for him. Who's he going to be able to keep on the roster that's already there and in the recruiting class? Who is he going to be able to keep? Because he is going to basically have to, in my opinion, do away with a lot of the remnants of what has remained since Jim Harbaugh and Sharon Moore. How many of the current guys on staff is he going to be able to convince to stay? Can they even run the schemes that he wants to run? Or does he literally come in and say, you guys can stay, Wink, you stay, we'll find an OC, and we're going to let you guys run what you want to run based off of the personnel that we have here, and I'm just going to OC this thing, okay? Or just be like a president of this thing here. That's not what they need, in my opinion, Nate. They need somebody to walk in there like a Dillingham, right? Like a Eli Drinkwitz, and I'm going to rebuild Michigan in my image and in my likeness, right? And that's not what they're getting here in Kyle Whittingham. This is not the direction I would have gone if I was them personally. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. I think this was kind of a last ditch effort to get somebody that would look, that will appease the Michigan crowd at the press conference. I think that's what this was. Let's be honest. He retired. Okay, before this all went down, he retired. He was done coaching, and he was riding off into the sunset. Well, riding off into the sunset sounds like a great idea until someone offers you $10 million. and then that'll change your mind real fast. Once you start talking those numbers, regardless of how long he lasts, he's going to make a ton of cash right now. I think that's the main reason he's coming back. And I really believe he was done when he retired. I just think maybe this is financially based. Maybe he wants to prove something to himself at the end of his career. I have no idea, but I certainly don't see him being there for a long period of time. And I think the amount of time that he's there will depend on exactly what you were just talking about. Does he clean house? Does he bring in his own people? Because that's what he needs to do if he wants to have success there, in my opinion. He needs to get rid of all of the negative that has gone on there. And the only way to do that is to bring in new people. And with today's college football, you can turn a roster over way faster than you used to. And, hopefully that's what it'll do. Because if he tries to, keeps a lot of the same people in place, I think, we'll have a lot of the same problems.
Mean Green, now that Scum has a head coach, is the next thing that we hear is that Job of the Hut, aka if Warden Manuel, finally out the door and fired? That's an interesting question. Does this hire, is this a Ward hire or is this a University of Michigan hire? And they're going to go out and get their own AD and replace him because they know Wittingham literally is only going to be here for a couple years? That is a very, very interesting question. Chuck, he's in better shape at 65 than you two. I disagree. And he's 66, not 65, so get his age right. And has nothing to do about being in shape or not. Has everything to do about what stage of life you're in as a head coach, my man. So, and everybody who's going, well, Nick Saban coached until he was, what was it, 73?
Yeah, I think so.
This is not Nick Saban, okay? That is a rarity
Yeah.
in the business. So,
And he says
good.
Pete Carroll's 74. Well, yeah, he is 74. And look at the Raiders this year, man. I mean, it's been an absolute disaster. And his last few years at Seattle obviously weren't going well. It's tough, man. When you get old, it's tough to do anything. It's tough to get up. It's tough to go to the bathroom. So everything just gets harder. And I think Coach Whittingham knew that. That's why he was stepping out.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is not a long-term hire. If this is a long-term hire, that's what Michigan is thinking. This is a terrible hire on that front. It really is. And let's start to break this down, shall we? Let's look at Kyle Whittingham and the 25 years at Utah. Good Lord. Started in 2004 after Urban Meyer left to take the Florida job. He led the Utes in 2004 to the Fiesta Bowl win and was given the head coaching job in 2005. And then he coached until 2025. And he was on Urban's staff before he took over in 2005. So he had been there for 25 years. My gosh. That's a long time. A complete record of 177 wins and 88 losses, 109 conference wins to 70 conference losses. His best years came obviously in 2008 when they went 13-0 and won the Sugar Bowl. And then we have 2000 and let's see, next best year would have been 2015, 10-3, won the Las Vegas Bowl. They were tied for first in the Pac-12 South. He got first in the South three more times, 2018, 2019, and 2021. Again, that was in the Pac-12. Last year, first year in the Big 12 Conference, a 5-7 record overall, 2-7 in the Big 12, which was good enough for 13th. This year got him back to 10-2 after going 8-5 in 2023, 5-7 in 2024. Been a while since he had a 10-win season. 2021 and 2022 was 10-4. Let me ask you this question, Nate. 10-4. If that's the high mark for him at Michigan, are the Michigan fans going to be satisfied with 10-4?
I think if he goes 10-4 year one, I think that'll satisfy the fan base for sure. But 10-4 is not what it 10 wins is not what it once was, given the fact that we're playing extra games now. We're playing playoff games. I mean, there's the ability to win a lot more than 10 games. So that just that watermark isn't what it used to be. But I do think, if he can continue winning 10 games in the Big Ten, that is probably going to satisfy some people. I just don't know if he will be able to do that, especially given the current state of things.
I had a theory that got disproved this year, by the way, that there was a handful of teams. If you win 10, you're in. I thought the three northern schools 10 and you're in was be Ohio State, Notre Dame, and Michigan. Notre Dame got to 10 and they weren't in this year. So it's not a guaranteed 10 and you're in. I guess it's who you beat in those 10 that determines that. So Michigan came into the game this year 9-2 with a chance to go 10-2 and go to the Big Ten championship game and pretty much punch their ticket to the CFP. So they were on the precipice of that. Would this year have been any different with Kyle as the head coach as opposed to Sharon?
You know, I I
Maybe.
I think so. I think so. I mean, I think he's a better coach, and I definitely think he can get the most out of players. I definitely think they would have been more disciplined. So, I think they would have been better given the roster. The roster was not the problem with this year's team, in my opinion. It was how this thing was run.
It was a young roster too, right? That's job number one for Kyle Whittingham here is keep this roster together. I saw some reports coming out, some rumors that their big wide receiver Moss might be heading to the transfer portal. If he heads to the transfer portal, what's that look like for Underwood? Does Underwood like this hire? Does Underwood look at this hire and say, yeah, I can go with this guy? Um, or is he going to be like, you know what, this is not the direction I want to go with this with my future here? That to me is the biggest story here for Kyle Whittingham because if he comes in, I'm telling you, you mark it down, timestamp this, cut it, do whatever you want to do. If Whittingham comes in and Underwood leaves, this fan base is going to quickly blame Whittingham for this. They are going to turn on him quickly. They might be feeling good about it right now because they look at him as an upgrade, similar to how you do, Nate. Um, but if he can't secure the main guys on the roster and keep them in place before the transfer portal, then was it a successful hire? Was it the right hire? And let's not kid ourselves. That's why he was hired. That's why he's being hired. They do not want to go into January 2nd with no head football coach with the transfer portal opening. So they had to put someone in place, which is why I'm asking the question today. Was this a hire from Ward Manuel or was this a hire from the higher ups? We need someone in place in order to save what we currently have so that we at least have a semblance of a football team in 2026. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I definitely think it's the higher ups. I mean, I know he hasn't been fired yet, but I definitely think the higher ups have been looking at the situation given what's happened in the last month and a half. So I think this came from the higher ups. They were wanting to definitely get somebody in place. They'd already gone through the high school recruiting cycle, and now we're about to have the transfer portal open up. And with Coach Moore being gone, there might have been some guys already being talked to and getting ready to leave, and they're trying to do everything they can right now to save the ship. And I think Underwood is probably the biggest indicator. If he rolls, that may start an exodus. And it was not a foregone conclusion that he was coming there. If you remember, just a few months back, he was originally going to LSU until they backed the truck up. So money talks with this kid, and I'm interested to see what happens because I think he'll be the first domino to fall.
Yeah. Great point, Weston. I'm gonna read this one comment. UM fans are going to pull up the 2022 Rose Bowl when Utah ran over that bad OSU defense. Like that's going to be a repeat 4 years later. Watch the same film. What did we do to their defense? We set Ohio State passing receiving records in that game and bowl game records that will probably never be broken. Rose Bowl records. So it goes both ways on that film. Yeah, they did really well against our defense. It was a bad Ohio State defense too. Let's not kid ourselves. and then what happened to their defense. So it's going to be a two-way road here, man. Ed, is he? I didn't know. I mean, I know he's from Utah, but I thought that was a BYU thing, not a Utes thing. So that's funny. Um, yeah, I don't know, guys. I think this is going to be incredibly interesting. I don't know that he wins the press conference either.
Yeah, I don't know. He is definitely a Mormon. He played at BYU
Did he? Okay.
originally.
Well,
Yeah,
then
he
there
went
there you
to
go. Yeah.
from 78 to like 81. He played at BYU and is definitely a Mormon and is a good dude. I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, if they were trying to get a good person to come in there, because there hasn't been many good people in that room for a while, they definitely did that. And given, as I mentioned earlier, the reason that I think it is a good hire, given the circumstances, that you have to look at it from a total perspective here, because things were not going well with this search. People were,
No.
running the other way when they
Or
came
or
calling.
using it to get raises, essentially.
Exactly. Which is when you know that your job isn't as great as you think it is when people use it to get a bump in pay. And that's what was happening. And they got real lucky here because he retired and was basically walking away from the game. And as I mentioned, they gave him 10 million reasons more than likely not to do that.
It's a good point. That's a very good point. He was literally walking away from the game, and now he's not. Are you going to get the best Kyle Whittingham here? It scares me. I mean, I'm I'm just going to put myself in their shoes for a minute. Let's say this is Ohio State, right? You're not getting a highly motivated Urban Meyer 2012 here, okay? In the prime of his coaching career. You're not getting a highly motivated Jim Tressel. I've proved it at a lower level. I want to prove it at the highest level there is in college football here. You're not getting a young Ryan Day, who is a great mind, up and coming offensive quarterback guru, right? Who needs to learn how to become a head coach. That I guess is one positive. Whittingham doesn't have to learn how to become a head coach. Okay, he's been doing that for a long time. But are you getting a guy who's going to be really highly motivated? Who's going to be like, you know what? I'm going to be in the office for 16 hours plus every single day. I'm going to be making all those calls to the recruits and jumping on planes and going and what's he going to tell them when he sits across from a recruit's parents at a table and says to them, "Yeah, I'm here for the next 5 years." Well, buddy, you're going to be 70, 72 years old in 5 years. What do you mean? Like, I think there's a lot of questions and a lot of things that can be used negatively against him in recruiting that maybe the Michigan fans haven't thought about. Now, is it better than their current situation? 100% it is. Okay, that's not what we're saying here. But what I am saying is this is not necessarily the slam dunk home run hire that is going to be spun up in Ann Arbor. It is not here. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I just listened to the buddy, the Michigan buddy over there, talking how that he's the greatest coach in college football. And I mean, can Dave Portnoy say that? Yeah, he can, but that also makes him a moron. He's not the greatest coach in college football. I'm sorry. Does he had a good career at Utah? Yes, he's had a good career, but what has he won? I mean, he hasn't won a national championship there. It's not like he was piling up conference championships. He's a good coach. I give him credit. He is a good coach. There's no doubt. But there was guys they called ahead of the time, and that's how you can judge. If you get there and you were the first guy they called, well, there you go. You know that everybody wanted you and everybody loves you. You get there and you're the fifth, sixth, seventh guy that they've tried to hire. I think that it messes with your psyche a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Uh, he wasn't walking away. Do your homework. Who wasn't walking away? Whittingham? He totally walked away from his team, bro. What are you talking about? He wasn't fired. What do you call it when you leave your team and you're not fired? Pretty sure that's called walking away.
That's the
I'm leaving for
definition.
I'm leaving for a better opportunity. Maybe Michigan. You think that was on his mind when he announced this? Like this has been years in the making, like for real.
Funny, he
Like
didn't say anything about leaving Utah to go to Michigan in that press conference. I remember listening to it, and I do not remember him saying that in the entire presser. Nor was there a question about it. So I don't think this was pre-planned.
yeah, I don't. I think it fell in his lap is what happened. It fell in his lap and he obviously thought about it. Now, he offers the Michigan like why was he hired here? Okay, let's break that down. Why is he the one who's getting this opportunity in Ann Arbor? Number one, he has experience and offers stability to a program right now that is completely in flux, right? So if I'm looking at this from an administrative point of view, I'm on the board of regents or whatever, and I'm sitting across from a man who has 20 plus years of head coaching experience, where the fan base and the program love that man, with zero instances of anything close to what we've seen in your last two head coaches in Sharon Moore and Jim Harbaugh. Obviously, that appeals to me, right? I think this is when you look at the immediacy of what he provides, it's a good hire for them. Stability calms the storm in the seas, gives you, I guess you could say, a level platform in which to say, okay, we're not going to have to worry about any more issues. But long term, like where we're looking at this thing in 5 years down the road, means they're going to have to reset everything, Nate. Like this doesn't offer, unless they've got some young name that they're going to bring in that he's going to groom, like a Ryan Day, like someone like that, then I understand it. But that's not what I'm hearing here at all. This has nothing to do with 4 or 5 years down the road. This is everything to do about the fact we don't have a football coach before January 2nd. We're screwed. We need one. And he's interested, and he's probably the best one who's interested. Like, even Jeff Brom, who Steve Dace brought up the other day, who was all on, oh, yeah, they're going to hire Jeff Brom. You know, like, I looked at Jeff Brom's. He's coaching at his alma mater in the city he grew up in, that he was born in. Like the dream job for him. All that was going to be like Louisville. You going to pay me anymore? So I look at this and be like, this is probably the best possible guy that they could hire. I don't think Eli Drinkwitz was a real possibility, right? So what do you think? Do you think this is probably the best guy they could have got?
Yeah, definitely given the time frame that we're looking on. You got the coaching world is driven by cycles, and the coaching hiring cycle was pretty much over at this point. You saw how it went. As soon as Lane Kiffin made his decision and chose where he was going to go, very quickly the rest of the dominoes fell, and all of the main jobs were hired right away. So you got to get in there quick. There's a reason people fire coaches earlier and earlier to get in, ahead of the game, and they were certainly behind it. That being said, and given who was available at this point and who was willing to leave their job, I think they certainly did a good job. Look at Penn State, where they fired their coach, in the middle of the season and couldn't get anybody to come in. So given the fact that they had that much time, and did they get a decent guy out of Iowa State? We'll see what it looks like. I definitely think they ended up doing pretty good given their situation. But let's be brutally honest with the situation. Given what was going on, that this was a good hire for them.
Yeah, Jay says this is damage control. They want him to be a bridge until the job is attractive again. That's what I've been saying for
Agree with
weeks with
that.
him. He's a stopgap. He's a bridge to the next hire. I don't think this is a long-term solution. And if I'm a Michigan fan, thank God I'm not, but if I was, I wouldn't be high. I would not be happy with that. I would not be. It sounds like to me they had one of two things they could do here. They could go with Biff and slap that interim tag on him and they give him 1 year, similar to what Ohio State did in 2011, or they go after Kyle Whittingham. That's essentially what it came down to. Biff probably burned the bridge and wasn't going to be able to come back after he goes on his national tour, rampaging against the program, basically doing worse job, like basically throwing the entire program under the bus at times, which tells me he realized he wasn't getting the job and he was pissed.
Yeah, that's
Is what
exactly
that
what that
was.
means. Yeah, you could hear it in his voice when he was talking about it. You could tell that he'd already had the conversation and they weren't giving him the job, which we never thought he was. If you remember a couple weeks ago when we talked about this, I said they're not going to do the interim thing. I said they think too much of themselves to do that. They don't believe that they have to do that. They think they could go out and get somebody. And to their credit, given the situation, as I mentioned, this is pretty good.
Uh, our buddy Rene Martinez, who lives in Utah, by the way, he says trust Hill at least fix what Sess is going on there. He's a good guy. Again, this is why I think Ohio State fans are struggling with this hire. He's a good dude. He's an Urban Meyer disciple. He stayed at one program for 20 plus years. That doesn't happen in today's college football world. So he's a loyal man. Um, he was successful in taking Utah from the Mountain West to the Pac-12 and being successful in the Pac-12 to now the Big 12. So the man has been he's done a lot of really good things, and he's a good dude. So Ohio State fans, we don't get in this instance, we don't get someone to hate. It's hard to hate that guy, but I'm okay with that. I say we get back to respect again. There's nothing wrong with having a healthy, respectful hate in
Yeah.
your rivalry. You guys are full of jokes, dude. If Ryan Day took over OSU being on third base, Wittingham takes over UM being on the toilet. That's you guys are full of jokes, man. Oh my gosh.
Well,
So
lots of people are saying too that he was forced out of Utah. They went 10-2 this year. Why would they force him out when
I
they went ten
think
and
I
two?
think it was he. This was his last year, regardless. If I'm
Right.
not mistaken, and I don't listen, we are not Utah experts.
No.
So if there's some more underlining reasoning on why he was quote unquote forced out that I'm not aware of, I would love to know why. But it sounded like to me, based off the Utah people who I do know, who I have interacted with over in the college huddle, this was almost like a mutual thing. Felt like it was more of like I've been here a while. It's time to get a new voice in here. This will be my last year type of thing. Kind of similar to what happened to a Will Howard in Kansas State,
Yeah.
where they kind of, hey man, we got this younger guy. We're paying him a lot of NIL. We appreciate all you've done. You need to go on and play at a better spot for yourself. We're going to bring this guy in. It was kind of a mutual parting of the ways from Kansas State and Will Howard. Worked out really good for Will Howard. We'll see if it works out really good for Kyle Whittingham in this situation. But um, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Thank you, Renee, for reminding us. We have over 120 people watching live right now. Please hit that like button if you don't mind. If you haven't subscribed to the OHIO podcast, please consider doing that as we work our way getting closer to 6,500 subscribers. We would love to see all of you jump on board. We do videos every single day. We have lives almost every single evening, although we're going live breaking news because of this right now. But um, this is great. And then here's our insider. Buck Vader just hopped on our insider. He's got a Michigan insider he's been working with now. Let me make sure he hasn't texted me or anything yet. All right, he actually sent me a big old long text. Let me read Buck Vader's text to all of you. He is our insider over on our Patreon channel. If you want more Ohio State news, insight, rumors, before anything else breaks, you're going to want to join our Patreon channel. Link below. This is from Vader. I think this is going to be a great hire for us as Ohio State fans. I actually know a lot about Whittingham. First, he's absolutely a system guy, so he's definitely going to completely change the offense and defense. As well, he'll have to recruit talent that matches it. Second, his big thing is discipline. Most of his roster, especially Underwood, aren't big on that. Ooh. By the time he gets it all straight, he'll be gone and Michigan will have to start over. That's kind of what I'm thinking too. Interesting. take on Underwood with that.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I mean,
yeah,
I agree with them. The thing is this guy going to win a national championship for them? I mean, isn't that what we want to know? Can this guy win a national championship? Is he capable of winning one there? Is he going to compete for the Big Ten title? I mean, that's what people want to know, right? And I don't see that happening given his scheme, his system, and then the current players that are there. Who's he going to hire? I mean, I'm unsure of what kind of staff he can assemble at this point. But is it one that can win a national championship? I'd be surprised if it was.
so here's another didn't walk away. Again, I was told it was mutual, dude. Uh, I don't know. I think sometimes things can be spun different ways. We'll see. We'll see what he says. He's obviously going to answer. He's going to answer a question or two about that in his press conference when he's introduced. Why did you leave, or why, how what happened. He's going to be nothing but cordial to Utah, obviously. But I would love to know a little bit more. And if he was forced out as a Michigan fan, wouldn't that offer you some questions? Wouldn't you be questioning it a little bit? Like, hey, if this guy was forced out, are we getting someone's throwaway here? To me personally, I would question that. Just interesting to get the different perspectives that people are offering with that. He also likely going to be bringing his Utah OC Jason Beck and BYU defensive coordinator Jay Hill. Interesting. So some Utah people, so BYU and Utah guys going to be coming in. I do you want to get rid of Wink Martindale at DC? Do you risk losing more people off your roster when you do those things? How many Utah guys are going to jump in the portal and come with him? Are those upgrades? Are those downgrades from what you currently have? How will that disrupt the locker room? There's a ton of questions here this offseason for Michigan that they're going to have answered with all of this. Very interesting. Texas Tech fan in here. Welcome. Big game this week for you guys. Next week, man. All right, let me read this one. My question is, what was the point of getting Bryce Underwood when you want to run a 1980 styles offense? Harbaugh had awful QBs too and didn't develop them. Bryce could definitely leave. He definitely could. Absolutely. But I guess money talks, right? Wasn't that the other thing that came out last week or earlier this week? One, Nate, was the fact that all NIL talk had been put on hold there. Any restructuring of deals, any new NIL deals, all of it had stopped, had ceased until the results of the investigation came out, as what I was told. Maybe until the water cleared here, or was that a Ward Manual thing? Possibly, but it'll be interesting to see if that, because if you're motivated by money, if you're motivated by money, and they don't have any more money to offer you, the portal becomes very appealing, does it not?
It does, and this is a big changeover. Let's be very honest here. This are two very different human beings. And when we're talking about these two head coaches, one former head coach and now their current head coach, this isn't like a plug and play situation. I hate saying that word, but it's not just a situation where you can just put this guy in and everybody running the same system and all the players will be down with this. I'm not sure they are. How much they knew about this guy potentially being the coach before they hired him, I don't know. But I doubt that they sat down and talked with each guy to, see what they thought, because they're working against time here, Eric. I mean, let's be honest. We all know this deadline was coming up quick, and that's why they acted so fast. And I think they're going to be doing what we're doing, which is watching to see what happens, because I don't think they really know how many of these guys are going to jump ship, and neither do I. But I guarantee you some of them will.
Yeah,
Once they
it's
find
job
out.
number one for him. It's day number one, job number one. Secure your roster, secure your draft, your recruiting class. Absolutely. Ryan Day championship beard brings up a very good point, and it's the next topic I want to dive into. Kyle Whittingham got to meet nice Ryan Day in the Rose Bowl in 2022. Now it's the game. Kyle Whittingham gets to meet mean Ryan Day. This might be the one time in Ryan Day's career I think where he might respect the coach on the other side of the sideline wearing maize and blue. How does that change the game moving forward for Ryan Day? And for Ohio State. Doesn't change anything for us. I don't care if they've got Papa Smurf coaching over there, and he's farting out rainbows and handing out Lucky Charms to everybody. I could care less. I'm still gonna want to kick his face in, but I imagine it'll be the same for Ryan Day. But at least I think it becomes more cordial. At least, right?
I think so, and I think he can kind of think that his headsets will probably work, at the next game, and
Maybe.
maybe this quarterback communication system may be online for the next game, and maybe they don't have to watch about them getting videotaped. I mean, I do think this guy has some integrity. Whether he can fix all the problems there, that's a different story. But I do think this guy has integrity and is a good person. So we got to give him credit where it's due on that one.
Yeah. I imagine that those conversations for Whittingham and Ryan Day will remain cordial, but they'll be less. And I don't know how much they were talking to begin with, Nate. It's not like I think that they were best buds or something here, but I do know that they respected one another. And it's again, Whittingham's the type of guy he's hard to dislike. He's a nice guy, very well respected in the coaching community. Tons of success at Utah. Again, very, very loyal to that program. Very rare to see in today's college football community. A lot of great attributes that this man has that are you can cling to and respect. And I think Ryan Day sees that, and he will respect a lot of those things. But you're the enemy now, and in some instances. So I think those conversations will be less or shorter, at least. Maybe not less. Maybe they didn't have a lot to begin with, but at least shorter, right? His coaching staff is going to be very interesting to me. A lot of people talking in the comment section, and I'm like 150 comments behind. You guys are doing great in the chat. Appreciate all of you so much for being here. Please hit that like button. Sounds like he's got a pretty good OC that if comes with him could be a feather in the cap for Michigan. Of course, they're going to be needing an OC. Theirs left and is going to Missouri. Defensive coordinator is interesting to me. If I'm Whittingham, I'm just leaving Wink Martindale in place. What do you think?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, the defense hasn't been their problem. I think I'd leave him in place for sure. But like we said, I don't know what he's going to do here. I mean, this was kind of a last minute, forced thing, and I'm interested to see what kind of staff he brings with him. Obviously they went internal with the hire in Utah, so I originally thought a lot of the guys might stay on there and continue on that staff. But heck, maybe some of them were mad they didn't get the job and might roll with him. So that's going to be the first thing to look about there is does the OC bet come with him? I think that's going to be a very interesting thing to watch.
Uh, just reported Tony Alford likely staying on at Michigan. And then a follow up: Alford staying also likely means Savion Hitter will stay as well. I, yeah, probably. I would say that that's probably a smart move on his part if he wants to keep the big time running back recruit, is to make sure you keep his position coach in house and keep him here. But Tony Alford's not exactly an easy guy to work with either. So is he gonna like working for Whittingham? Is he gonna feel slighted? Why wasn't I given the opportunity? He's been dying for a head coaching position for decades. It seems like. Yeah, he's interviewed for that Colorado State job. I don't know how many times, 4 times. And they keep looking over him, even though it's his alma mater and he wants to coach that job so bad. He wants it more than anybody, and they just keep looking over him every single time, um, which is really interesting. Weston says Kyle was the only option, not like 2012 when Buckeyes got Urban Meyer, which these idiots will tell you that. I hope he means by these idiots he's talking about Michigan fans, I believe. I mean, I hope he's not talking about you and I. I don't think we should.
He might be.
You never know. You never know. Anyways, this is funny, but I don't know. I don't know, man. I feel good about this hire as an Ohio State fan. I do. I don't feel like this is some kind of Michigan went out there and got you know, an unbelievable coach. Like you look at some of the names who could have went there, right? Um, the Arizona State coach, man,
Wittingham.
Dillingham, dude is that would have scared me. I think that is one of the best. He confirmed, yes, Michigan fans, not you guys. Thank you. um, if Dillingham would have went there, that would have scared me because he is, in my opinion, one of the best young up and coming coaches in college football. That one would have been like, oh crap, this is gonna be interesting because I think he can recruit, he can develop, and he's young and he's full of life and energy. And what's he gonna be able to do with the resources that Michigan has compared to Arizona State? That one would have scared me. I'm trying to think of some other names that people had mentioned. The OC at Buffalo coached at the LSU.
Brady.
Joe Brady, right? That one would have scared me, but he doesn't want to leave the NFL. That has been reported multiple times that he does not want to recruit and live with a cell phone attached to his ear talking to teenagers. He wants to coach men and scheme. I just want to scheme and coach men. That means he's not leaving the NFL. So
That would have
that one
scared
would have,
me. That would have scared
yeah.
me. I mean, if you look back to his last time running offense in college football, it looked pretty good. And I don't know if I'd want to see that every single year. So yeah, I'm glad he's not coming.
Let's see. What are some of the other, again, Eli, I don't think Eli Drinkwitz was ever going to leave Missouri. My contacts in Missouri tell me that he is so plugged into that community there in Columbia with his everything his wife is doing. Three young daughters, all various ages and within their growth from elementary school up to I think maybe freshman in high school or eighth grader in junior high. He's not going to leave that place. And again, Eli Drinkwitz didn't really scare me either. You know, Eli's a weirdo. I don't know. I don't know if I would call him that, but I don't know him well
He's
enough to call him a weirdo. But
he's kind of a dork, that's for sure. But I have weird feelings about that guy because sometimes I'll watch Missouri play and I'll be like, man, they are outperforming their talent, and then everybody ranks them and talks about how great they are, and then they get drubbed like 5 times in a row. So I do think he's a good coach, but I do also think that he likes where he's at. They appreciate him there. He just got a raise. I don't think he was going anywhere. A lot of these guys were offered the Penn State job too, or at least talked about it, and didn't want to leave for that. So I didn't expect him to leave, but I'm definitely happy that some of those guys didn't get the job because that would have worried me more than this.
I'll take our culture. Jeffrey says, I'll take our culture, which has been established for 25 years, running now, not his massive rebuild. Ooh, culture. We haven't even dove into that one yet. I mean, that's outside of saving the roster. That's got to be job number one, right? Rebuilding a culture.
Good luck. Yeah, that's easier said than done, but that certainly needs to be addressed upon arrival. And you got to figure out who's going to be there, who wants to be there, and then start attacking it. But that's the thing that needs to get fixed first.
Yeah. Jeffrey goes on to say, I think he's a very important piece to setting up your program for the next step. Young people will look back on this 20, 25 years from now and think differently about it. Could be. It could be. Do you guys think he'll have a big contract and big buyout at his age? Whew, I do not.
No.
No, what they wouldn't put themselves in that situation, would they?
I don't think so. And what they don't have to worry about someone coming to poach him away. So that sometimes is a reason why you up the buyout. And I'm sure he's, I can't remember who his agent is, but I don't see this guy getting, anything like we've seen. Looking at the ones that have recently popped with $53 million to Brian Kelly and 49 Franklin, I don't think he gets anywhere near that.
No, shouldn't. I wouldn't put myself in that situation. That's for sure. We always talk about Ohio State staffers and players getting the rivalry. How will Wittingham do in this rivalry? He has zero Midwest ties. Great point. We haven't even brought that up, Nate. Does
Yeah.
he come in day number one and be like, I hate Ohio and we have to go out and beat these guys and it's 15 minutes every practice working on Ohio State and like is that going to be his focus here?
That's a good question, but you got to think this guy's been in college football for a long time. At Utah, they did have a huge rival in BYU. I mean, the Holy
Right?
War is a real thing. Is it the same as Ohio State, Michigan? Definitely not. Not even close. But to those people that live in that area, that is the biggest game of the year, and it is a massive, massive deal. So he's got a little of time dealing with a rivalry. That is for sure.
So he was 11-6 in the Holy War. 11-6. So he had a nice winning percentage in that.
Yeah.
Buck Vader says Wink does not fit his system. So Wink probably not going to stick around then, obviously. He would be available. 3-year deal possibly. Nothing's been confirmed. That sounds right to me. I wouldn't go beyond that. That
No.
would put him at 69 years old, knocking on the door of 70. If it goes incredibly well, maybe you can extend him if you want. But yeah, Fletch Lives Daily says, I think Wink is gone. I think the report that came out in the last 48 hours about basically the fight that Wink had where he made Sharon Moore cry back in February was not by mistake. Let's put it to you that way. I think we're watching Wink coach his last game when Michigan takes on Texas.
I do too.
Let's see here. Anybody else in the chat need to add anything we should talk about? Okay, Dave says that new coach can help rebuild respect. No more flag planting BS. The problem is that the whole athletic department is crooked. It needs total strip down to the foundation. Yeah. Does this mean Ward is safe?
I mean,
What if they come back? What if they come back and Ward gets fired from this investigation? What if Ward gets fired? Who are they going to put in an AD then at that point that would be like, yeah, I guess we'll just leave who we got in place for the 3-year deal, but in the meantime, I'll be looking for his replacement? That's not good either, right?
he has to get fired, right? I mean, how in the world can this guy keep his job at this point? I mean, you really think he's going to be there come next year? I mean, I just have a hard time believing it. Maybe so, considering he's lasted this long. But I thought for sure this time. I mean, we'll see. I mean, if they do an outside investigation, I see no way he keeps his job. If they just do an internal one, maybe he makes it. But I just have a hard time believing he's going to be around.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, there's an interesting take. I think Ward is out. Maybe Greasy comes in as AD. It's an interesting take. I haven't heard that one before. Oh, Jar Happiness, what's up, brother? Good to see you. I think Ward gets fired as a result of the cleansing. Well, see, if that happens, then was this hire simply just to try to keep the team together? And if that's the case, are you willing to like a 3-year deal seems like eternity if this is just a hey, just keep the roster together for the year. You know what I mean? Like I don't know about that one. 40 phenom. I don't understand hiring a coach at 66 years old for 3 years. Makes no sense. That's my point. That is my point. I understand it's a stopgap. I understand he's a bridge. A bridge to what? That has not been answered, nor can it be answered given the situation that Michigan is in right now. It's a bridge to what? They cannot answer that. That's why I don't like this hire.
Well, and I don't think he would take the job if they weren't giving him at least 3 years. Do you? He's not going
I,
to. He's not going to sign on for a 1 year or 2 year deal. No one does that. I think if they're hiring him, talking him into being the guy, I guarantee you he got at least three, maybe more.
yeah. Hey, there's Eric Osbeck. What's up, buddy? He says, I have no faith anything will happen to Scum. It's the world in which we live in right now, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Farrah says, I think they'd have kept Biff if Ward was out. I think you guys are right, and he knows where the bodies are buried.
You must.
He knows where Jimmy Hoffa's buried, apparently. Uh, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just clicked on that, but now I have it up. So I don't think Whittingham is that dumb of a guy. I'll put it to you that way. I don't think Whittingham would allow that to be happen.
No.
Um, so Obi says, so is he officially been hired or is it still a rumor? There are multiple news agencies reporting that they are working out the final details now, and there should be an announcement within the next day or two, meaning you can expect a press conference either this evening or tomorrow announcing that Whittingham is the new head coach of the University of Michigan, Obi. That is what we have. That is the reporting that is going on right now. Troy, a bridge to nowhere. Exactly. That's my point.
I
They
like.
cannot tell you where it's what the future holds there. I just don't get, you know, the hire on that. Temple of Brutus, so they can wait for this cloud to blow over and not have to pay off a huge exit fee to Whittingham. So they can wait for this cloud to blow over and not have to pay off a huge exit fee to Whittingham. I guess that he's saying that's why you go with him.
I
It's not
think
a
so.
huge buyout then. Um, if things don't go the way you want.
Yeah, I mean,
Va-
I don't think it'll be a huge buyout. I mean, I think we've talked about that. I don't think it will be, but I certainly don't think this is going to be a long term deal. He's not getting a 7 year deal by any stretch.
right. It's a big job he has to fix, says Vader. I don't think he has time. He has no recruiting and infrastructure.
Yeah.
Um, is the recruiting infrastructure in place though already for him?
I mean, I think partially, as we mentioned, the high school piece is over. So they've already got, guys that signed that are there. The thing that me and you mentioned earlier that's important now is keeping everybody. I think that
Portal.
keeping everybody out of the portal or using the portal to fix his guys. Who has he gone out at when he was at Utah and grabbed from the portal that has been a masterfully amazing move. I mean, I can't think of a guy that he brought in.
That's a great question. I'm sure he's had some successes, but they haven't been on the national scale, or we would have known about it,
Bingo. I
right?
mean, you think about Kurt Signetti and his success at Indiana. Well, this guy has certainly proven that he can use the portal to find a quarterback. I mean, he's made it look really easy. It's not that easy, Eric. And that's a big piece of being at this level and at this kind of high profile program. You've got to be able to use the portal to fix problems on your team and fill in holes, or you're going to be like Clemson and not being as successful as you once were. That's a big important piece to it these days. You got to have guys that you can go out and get that can add depth, if not anything else.
Renee Martinez, Eric, I'm telling you, brother Kyle is going to make an impact fast, bro. I don't doubt that he will. I mean, I just think his personality will help, right? Who he is as a man will help. Things were so bad in Ann Arbor that just his presence alone is going to fix some things, at least within, the athletic department, the football program. But how long that takes to translate to wins on the field is a different story. And he might have to take two steps back before they can start taking steps forward. And I don't know that he's got the time to do that there. That's the thing. Um, it's just the thing. It's why I'm questioning this move. Um, Last thoughts. We appreciate all of you being here for this breaking news. Um, appreciate all of that. You guys being here. Make sure you hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already as well. We would love to earn your sub. Last thoughts, Knoxville Nate, on Kyle Whittingham becoming the next head coach at the University of Michigan.
Yeah, I mean, I just think they deserve some credit here for getting a coach of this caliber, given what's gone on in their program and where we are in the calendar. I knew that this was going to get done this week. I think you knew it too. They had to try and at least have something in place before this January 2nd date because they didn't want a mass exodus. They wanted to know who was going to be. These guys want to know who the coach is going to be next year. That's kind of a big deal. And so to get him before that date, they're going to look at that as a win for sure.
I'll leave you with this note. They had to hire somebody. That's what they did.
That's a good point.
It was either him or Biff, and Biff kind of wasn't the guy, and Biff went out kicking and screaming, and was literally waving dirty laundry in front of everybody in the world, and this was probably the very best possible thing they could do at this point. So if I'm a Michigan fan, I'm relieved. I'm feeling good about it. But my long-term feelings for the program are very cloudy right now if I'm a Michigan fan. So as an Ohio State fan, I feel very good about this hire. I do. I think he's a respectful guy. I think he's going to bring some respect back to that program, which is going to help the rivalry um, return to where it used to be. And I think Ohio State definitely, listen, it's a dog eat dog world. Ohio State's going to use this to their advantage to negatively recruit them. They just are. Ryan Day's going to sit across from a big time recruit and say, Kyle's a great guy. Really respect the man. He's 20 years older than me. I'm going to be here I plan on being here when you go to the NFL. I don't know that he is. Do you want to go through a coaching change? That's what the conversation is going to be. He played college football. He'll tell you. That's what those conversations are like.
Oh yeah,
That's
yeah.
that's reality.
No, if someone tells you they're not going to mention that in the meeting with them, they're lying to you. I mean, they've got to tell it like it is, and they've got to use anything like this to their advantage. It's a cutthroat world out there in recruiting, man, and getting these 18-year-old kids to understand the situation and come where you want them to go. Getting a teenager to do what you want them to do is a very difficult thing, my friend. And I don't even have a teenager. I just have watched others try and do it. So it's harder than you may think.
I have three, and I tried to get the youngest one to help me do laundry the other day, and
How'd
you would
that
have
go?
thought it was rough.
My point
I
made.
just I asked for two things, and only one of them got done. So, uh,
50%.
yeah. Hey, he's above the Mendoza line, I guess.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. We really do appreciate all of you. We will be back with more content. Tomorrow morning, we have a live show at 10 a.m. It's the Saturday morning weekend show, 10 a.m. Sunday night, 8 p.m., right here on the OHIO podcast, our longest running live show in Ohio State football world, 8 o'clock Eastern. Every Sunday night, the roundtable. It's been going on since 2019, and we'll be no doubt talking about this come Sunday night and Saturday morning. So make sure you're locked in. Ring the bell, get notified every time we go live so you don't miss it or we drop new content on your lap. Till next time, be kind to one another. I know someone's OH in Carmen, Ohio with all your heart. Till next time, you all know what to do. OH!
Io.
Go Bucks.